is booked in and the deal will be complete over the weekend. But Manchester United are not done there. They are already targeting their next two additions. They want a goalkeeper, they want a striker, and some more updates have just come in late tonight on Benjamin Sesko. There's been 3 or 4 sources linking Sesko to Manchester United over the last few days, and we know that Sesko is open to a move. Lammens has recently been linked to Manchester United again, with United, having a little bit of contact and exploring that deal. But obviously, what Manchester United do after Mbeumo and how much we spend will likely depend on sales. We've got updates on Alejandro Garnacho. There's some new interest in him. We've got a little bit of a boost in Antony exit. Hopefully, things should move along very soon. And also, Manchester United are looking at a young centre-back in Norway. Cost about £7 million to come in. Obviously, Evans and Lindelof had left, so we probably need a little bit of depth at the back, but centre-back isn't priority, so we can't really afford to spend more than 6 or 7 million on a centre-back. And if you weren't aware, Manchester United have a pre-season game tomorrow versus Leeds. Cunha and Diego Leon expected to play. Harry Amas not in squad, expected to go out on loan. Diego Leon is. We covered some of these stories earlier today, but hello, and welcome back to Alice Talks Football, and welcome back to your 10-minute roundup, where we round up all the latest Manchester United news, transfer news, and more in 10 minutes for you guys. If you're new to the channel, every evening throughout the transfer window, unless there's just really not much news, I do a 10-minute video rounding up all the relevant news to keep you guys up to date. Obviously, just filling in with some information you may already know quickly to begin with here, but Bryan Mbeumo is set to complete the first part of his medical Saturday, in with the rest, an official contract signing on Sunday in Carrington, and he should hopefully be on tour next week, which is good news. Now, in regards to Mbeumo, there'll be a few visas and final details needed to sort to make sure he can go to America on tour, but hopefully that will be relatively easy to do and quick to do and sort. It shouldn't take very long. I think an Mbeumo announcement will either come Sunday or Monday from Manchester United. We fly to tour on Tuesday. I think it will be announced Monday. I think Sunday's too quick for United. I think tomorrow's medical. Sunday, it's sort of he does the contract signing and they do the media work. And I think Monday, Mbeumo will be announced as a new Manchester United player, which is really exciting. I think the Mbeumo deal taking ages and dragging on for ages has definitely took a little bit of excitement away from the deal, in that sense of we got so fed up, but it's such a good deal. And now Manchester United are looking to sign a striker, as Romano confirmed earlier, and that striker could be Benjamin Sesko. Now, we spoke about being many links to Watkins and Nicholas Jackson and some recent links to Sesko, but we've now got Sky Sports confirming some news about Manchester United's interest in Sesko, and sources from Sky Sports have said one player to keep an eye on this window as it develops is Benjamin Sesko. Manchester United have been tracking his development for years. I believe it was Ben Jacobs who came out, I think, like 4 or 5 days ago in the United Stand and said Sesko's one to watch. And then we've had 4 or 5 sources since say that United are interested in Sesko. It could be one to watch. Let's see how the window develops. Now, this is quite interesting news because Sesko hadn't really been linked to us, but I guess with Ekitike to Liverpool, Delap to Chelsea, and Gyökeres to Arsenal, all looking like it's going to happen, United's options on the market right now are Sesko, Nicholas Jackson, and Ollie Watkins. Nicholas Jackson and Ollie Watkins both aren't going to be cheap. While they might be cheaper than Sesko, there's a feeling that Sesko is going to be 65, 70 million. But we know that Manchester United have a long-standing interest in Sesko, whereas Watkins and Jackson not so much. We know that Sesko is young and Ineos do like him. We also know that Sesko is open to United move. Now, people will say, where's the Sesko money coming from? Of course, a player would have to be sold. Someone like Garnacho would have to be sold. But the thing about Sesko is if Manchester United could pay his transfer fee over 4 or 5 years, it's quite affordable for United. Ekitike is around 80 million, it's believed, this summer. But Manchester United were looking at Ekitike because Frankfurt are willing to be flexible and say, yep, you can pay it over 5 years. So I think with someone like Benjamin Sesko, I think the fee might make it not happen. And if we don't sell, we can't do it. But I think you've got to remember, Benjamin Sesko, that if the fee is flexible, Manchester United sell well, this could definitely be one to watch. We do have interest in Sesko. I like Sesko. I think he's a good player, and I think he's got great potential, but the word potential is very key there. It's like Højlund had good potential when we signed him. I'm worried we signed Sesko, he struggles, we knock his confidence, he doesn't succeed at United. For a player that isn't fully complete, for a player that's so expensive and so young, I personally would rather United go for someone a little bit more experienced, a striker. I think Sesko is going to be a top player in the future. And I think he would be a good signing for United. But when you look at the price of his inexperience and how much of his game still needs time to develop, I do worry about Sesko to United. Now, interestingly, Sesko apparently wants a Manchester United move. It was said that Benjamin Sesko is open to move despite no European football, and United have been tracking it for 3+ years. United told potential new signings they need to sell in order to buy. But Sam C even suggests, and we mentioned this earlier today, that Sesko is open to Manchester United move despite no European football. However, it depends on sales. And Romano confirmed earlier today that United plan to sign a new striker in the next weeks as their main target after Mbeumo. Outgoings will be key. And Mbeumo is done. United are now planning for strikers, but they need some outgoings to happen. We've got updates on Garnacho, we've got updates on Antony. We will get into that. But we also know that goalkeeper is someone that Man United want. Now, we can't sign a first-team goalkeeper because Onana is still at the club. But Bayindir is believed to go. I hope we're looking to sell Bayindir, and we could bring in a keeper that's going to cost less than £20 million to be the second keeper, but good enough to actually potentially be the first keeper and challenge Onana. So one of the names is Lammens. Some initial talks with Lammens have already taken place this summer, with interest starting in January, said Ben Jacobs. But recently it's come out, now that Mbeumo's done, that we want a striker and we're having talks with Lammens. Now Newcastle have had some, I think, having recent conversations with Lammens now that James Trafford looks set to go to Manchester City. So could Manchester United be getting used here to speed along Newcastle after what happened with Mbeumo and Cunha? Potentially, but we know striker and goalkeeper are the next targets. We know we're looking at goalkeepers. So even though Emi Martinez is unlikely to happen and we won't sign a big keeper unless Onana leaves and Onana's set to stay, we've looked at John Victor. We've had many credible sources confirm interest in John Victor. Early in the window it was Milinkovic-Savic. Manchester United have been looking at a goalkeeper. Manchester United have been looking at a goalkeeper. So this is one to watch. Bayindir expected to leave. I don't know if it will be Lammens. He's about 16-17 million. Man United like him. We're watching him. He could be next. But we're looking at the goalkeeper. John Victor's another one to watch. But we've got Mbeumo medical, and we're not done that now. We want maybe a striker. We want a striker. We want a goalkeeper. We're also looking at this young centre back. You know, there's also talk of us wanting a midfielder, but it's sort of sales. See if they can maybe do a deal for Sesko or Lammens potentially. But let's see. So let's get into the latest on sales. Reports have come out and confirmed that Antony's agents are in Seville to continue negotiating a deal with Real Betis. The player travelled to Manchester this week to discuss his future. There are other clubs interested. His priority remains Betis. In regards to the latest on Antony, he's on holiday. He's back from holiday. There's a feeling that Antony is back from holiday that they can maybe wrap up this deal with Real Betis. However, this deal has been going on ages. I thought Antony to Real Betis would be done by now. I'm kind of fed up that it's not done. Betis have made 50 million in sales, and they're just signing anyone but Antony. It's almost like the longer and longer this deal drags out, the stronger Betis' chances of getting on loan again are. And I think that's what Betis want, and I think that's why they're delaying Antony, because he only wants Betis. My hope is that some of the other clubs interested in Antony might start making a move, which could put pressure on Betis to make a move, because Betis are dragging this out so they can get Antony on the cheap. Antony played well at Betis. Antony's willing to take a wage cut. We want to sell Antony. Betis want Antony. Antony wants the move. Why can't Betis just put in a fair offer? You've made money from sales. I don't know. Hopefully this advances. Antony wants the move. Betis want Antony. United want the move. Hopefully this advances. But something tells me Betis are dragging it on to see if they can get Antony on the cheap. Like we dragged on Mbeumo to see if we can get him for a lower fee. I think Betis are doing the same. And look, Man United, when deals drag on, are always on the bad end of it. Now, we spoke about Sesko, Lammens. We also spoke about Manchester United wanting a centre-back, and we also spoke about them wanting a midfielder. But for Manchester United to afford that, the biggest sale that can happen this summer is Garnacho. It could be 60 million pure profit. Now, some new interest has emerged from Villa and Garnacho. They're monitoring the situation, and we've known for a while that Chelsea are interested, and many credible sources have confirmed that Chelsea is still interested. Madueke has obviously been sold. This could be one to watch. There's Xavi Simons, there's Eze, there's Morgan Rogers. There's a lot of players linked to Chelsea, but they're players that are wingers that come more central. Maresca likes wingers that hold width. Garnacho is a winger that holds width. Garnacho at Chelsea kind of makes a little bit of sense. I think with Nicholas Jackson and Cuckoo, Emi Martinez and Watkins rumours to United, potentially there could be a swap deal. But there is 2 or 3 Premier League clubs interested in Garnacho. And for Garnacho to make it so clear he wants a Premier League move, I think he's had indications from one of these clubs that they are going to make a move and bid for him. In terms of final stories, we spoke about Evans Helland the other day and United scouting him over in Norway in a match last week. It's believed that a bid in the region of 7 million could be enough to get this deal done. As I've mentioned many times before, I think Manchester United need a centre-back, but it's not a priority. We need a young centre-back. In my opinion, we just need a young centre-back that's going to be less than 10 million to come in because of the depth that with the injuries we've had at the back last season and Evans and Lindelof leaving. But we can't afford to spend more than 10 million on the centre-back because that would affect our budget elsewhere. And it's not a priority. It's someone that's needed for depth. And I think this player, and I'm not going to act like I know much about this player, But I think this player from the research I've done is physically good, is technically good. And all Man United can do is find gems that are physically, technically good, got the right mentality, and hope that they, even if we bat him for a couple million, they end up good. You look at Aiden Heaven, all his qualities he had, he's looked really good. And I think we're trying to find another Aiden Heaven type signing. And last but not least, Man United are going on tour. They play Leeds tomorrow. Diego Leon is in the squad. Cunha's in the squad, but it's exciting to see. Harry Mass is not. He's set to go out on loan. Xerxes and Nana have minor injuries. They're out of the squad. But yes, I will be back after the Leeds game tomorrow to give you my opinion. Unless there's any breaking news before, then we'll have updates before. Thank you for watching. Bye.